Ready?
Yep.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Complete Game with Garrett Schilling and Curt Schilling. I'm your host. He's my son. What's up, Jake?
What's going on, everybody? How we doing?
Episode 25. We're going to finish off our look at the 2025 draft as we look at pitching prospects. Got three high schoolers up to end the run. But first, we're going to start with you, G, and talk about what's going on around the league.
Yeah, just because last time we talked, it was last Wednesday, so I just wanted to catch up. The Brewers are coming off a three-game win streak in Boston. When we last talked, that extended to 8 games since we last spoke to you guys. The Blue Jays took advantage of the Red Sox recent slide and have won 5 straight to leapfrog Tampa and Boston in the AL East. The Mets have won their last 4 and 8 of their last 10, while the Phillies are on a 4-game slide. So lots of teams, keeping parity throughout the
Those Mets
divisions.
wins in Colorado against the Rockies, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Shout out the Rockies, though. They got their 10th win.
They did get their
So
10th win.
double digits in June. That's big.
June 3rd.
And then, yeah, lots of teams in these wild card races fighting off injury bugs that I actually had a question off of that. Do you think any of what we've discussed now in our 24 to 25 episodes at this point could help with the streakiness and inconsistency of some of these teams? Because a lot of the time you look in the middle of these standings or like the bigger picture of National and American League wildcard races, and you see these teams at 4-6 or 6-4 or 5-5 in their last 10 consistently throughout the year. So, and I look back at some of the teams that you played on that were so great, and yes, there are slides and streaks throughout any given season, but there are predominant periods of winning for those teams that will be there at the end of the year.
So if you think back to 2004, which is, in 2001, we were good the whole year. 2093 with the Phillies, we were good the whole year. In 2004, if you look, we were playing, we were 8 or 9 games out mid-season, playing some middling baseball, never got hot. We got into the fight with the Yankees, the A-Rod Veritek thing, made the trade, got rid of Nomar, got Mankiewicz and Roberts, and it didn't turn around immediately, but second half, we kind of put it all together. And that's the thing, right, that we talked about earlier. Don't bury yourselves in April. You play good baseball because it is a war of attrition from a health perspective. You try and stay healthy. Tons of injuries around the game. Pitching continues to fall by the wayside daily. But, everybody expected the Dodgers to go 150-12. It just doesn't play that way. And it never has. I mean, you look back, I think it's 2001 Mariners with 116 wins. You had the late 90s Yankees who were just incredibly dominant. But there's a lot of parity in the game. I think a lot of that has to do with the inconsistency of pitching, change in pitching, change in the approach to pitching. A lot of those streaks were due to the fact you had a strong rotation and they were taking the ball every fifth day. You look around the game and those rotations where guys are taking the button. Go back and we'll look at this before next episode. But I'm curious at how many teams with their opening 5 or opening 4.5 still have that same opening 4.5. Probably not many, if any. The Tigers, look at the Tigers. They've been healthy for the most part. And they're running the same arms out there.
And also, the Tigers have the biggest division lead of any team right now, talking about health and consistency of running those same guys out there every day. And also, just going on, I know we wanted to mention complete games. We had 2 since we last talked. We had Framber Valdez go 9 innings, 3, what were they right there? 1 earned run, 1 walk, 9 Ks, in 83 pitches.
I was going to say, didn't he do that in like 80-something?
Yeah. 83 pitches. And then Zach Liddell the next day against Houston for Tampa, 9 innings, 10 hits, 3 earned run, 1 walk, 6 Ks on 117 pitches. I love both those because I feel like a lot of the time people assume or you would only fight if you're still in it for a shutout. But those are go out and get it, and this is your ball game type starts. I love that. So just wanted to shout those out.
And I remember my 100th career win was a 10-hit shutout in Atlanta. And I had the bases loaded in the 9th inning and stayed in the game. I mean, it was and those are the ones you look back on and go, you feel good because no one's expecting it. And, the complete game was always my biggest stat. I always, that handshake at the end, there's nothing like it. But, Valdez, that was kind of a Nintendo video game at 83 pitches because at 9 punch outs is a third of, it's almost a third of his pitches on 9 outs, 3 innings, right? And so and he is what he is. I mean, he's a legit top of the rotation guy. Yankees still at what, 5.5 up on Toronto?
Yeah, 5.5.
Cardinals coming back to the pack. Cubs are 8-2 in the last 10. Dodgers, Padres, and my goodness, the Giants, who I don't know anybody saw coming. It's just real painful to look at that Colorado thing.
Yeah.
Minus 183 run differential. But they are 2-8 in their last 10, which constitutes something, I think. Only,
and then one last bit of news from around the league. Ichiro and RJ announced yesterday that they would be retired in Seattle, 51.
Yep. Mariners announced they're retiring 51. Which
that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I definitely associate it more with Ichiro in Seattle, but
yeah,
I think that's more credit to RJ being more of a Diamondback in my mind, and then also Ichiro being a Mariner forever.
Straight Cy Youngs.
Yeah. That's what I mean. It's Ichiro's also a Mariner in my mind.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I thought of him always as first. Yeah.
Very cool. I would argue the 2 greatest free agent contracts in history were Maddox and RJ. Because I think both of them won 4 Cy Youngs after their free agent deals. RJ won them in a row. Bastard. But, yeah, so don't go to sleep on the Twins. I think they're going to be a wild card team. They're a good club. They're a lot better club than I think people think. If you didn't look at the standings, who would you give me a guess? The number 1 team and who's the best offense? Who scored the most runs in baseball right
now? Yankees.
They are 3rd.
Dodgers
1. Who do you think's 2?
Padres.
Cubs.
Oh, Cubs. Yep. That was easy. That was hanging there for me.
346, 341, 319. And then the Padres, think about that. In 2 less games, the Dodgers have outscored the Padres by 103 runs, which is insane. Yeah. It's also part of the ballpark. And then I can't believe I'll bet you it hasn't happened more than 5 times in their history. The Rockies are last in the league with 190 runs scored playing in the most hitter-friendly ballpark in existence. So, all right. So we're going to continue. Actually, we're going to close up our coverage of the top 50 prospects for the draft. We're going to close up with prospects in the top 50. These guys are 47, 48, and 49. 3 high school arms, a couple big kids. I'm going to share my screen again. I want you guys to pay particular attention. And I said before, one of the things that it's become apparent to me is, and I don't blame the kids for it, the young men. There is a pandemic across baseball from the big leagues to little league to get these guys to throw harder. And it is why, when you look at it, it's why I feel like a broken record talking about these young men for the draft. They're all throwers. And I keep saying it, it's why you're going to see most of them have surgery. It's why you're going to see most of them get hurt. It's why you're seeing guys in the big leagues get hurt. It's the Chase Dollander thing. So when I talk about drafting these kids, one of the caveats has to be, if you're going to draft this kid, keep your hands off of him and let him just pitch and get to the big leagues, then take a position player. Because you're not doing yourself. If you draft a pitcher in the first round, my assumption is you're drafting a guy to be at the top of your rotation in 3 or 4 years. Or 5 years, 4 or 5 years, depending on high school, college. But that's not what's happening. We're seeing these kids arrive in the big leagues, the same physical, mechanical pitchers they were. And the only thing they've done is added body weight and maybe a little height, depending on when you're drafting. But you're going to see these young men here. We're going to start with Landon Harmon, who's a high school prospect. Landon is 6'5", 190, 18 years old, out of East Union Attended Center class of 2025. I don't even know what conference that is. But what I want you to watch, you can tell a lot about a kid. I always watch guys warm up just to get a feel for them, but I want you to watch the catcher catching these balls as he warms up. Right? And by the way, you get a good feel for velocity in warm-ups, right? This kid's at mid-90s warming up, decent little slider. But look at the finish. The finish is going back to what we said. That's a changeup. So he is a little bit more extended on it. This is a sinker. This is actually almost like a screwball. The left to right, but look at the finish and the straight up finish. That's raw. 6'5", 190. All right, now watch the transition. Now, the only thing that's going to happen here from a health perspective and a mechanic perspective, he's going to do everything he just did, but he's going to do it much harder. And with mechanics that aren't polished, that's not a great thing. But I want you to watch the catcher as he throws these pitches. All right, 97. So he's clearly a mid to upper 90s guy. Up. Now he's going breaking ball, I think. Right. Good little curveball. Fastball in the middle. Right around 97. Obviously, big arm. Breaking ball up in the middle of the plate. Fastball down the middle. Fastball down the middle. Change up. Get him off the fastball a little bit. But there's a great example right there. Look at where the catcher sets up, and look at where the pitch ends up, right in the middle of the plate. And again, that's not abnormal for kids this age, for young men this age. But right there, and here's one of the reasons why when you throw this hard, you don't need to throw a four-seamer and a fastball, or a four-seamer and a sinker. Watch this sinker right here. So generally a sinker, you want it to start here and you want it to break down here. You want to have big break. Watch this. This is a sinker. All right, got a little bit of left to right tail, but not enough to be throwing both. You pick one and gain command of that one. There's no reason to be throwing that pitch. Hanging breaking ball, middle of the plate fastball. Nice breaking ball right there. But see the misses. And again, I don't want to sound down because this kid's got a big arm. But look at the finish right here. Catcher set up down and away. This ball goes all the way across the plate. And you're breaking. Oh, good pitch, bad on. Right. Change up. I like the arm action. Fastball up. Breaking ball up. See, what happens is with that tall finish, it's very, very hard to miss down. When you end up getting a finish where you're extending and you're out in front, your change ups, your sliders, your breaking balls miss at the bottom of the zone to the dirt. When you're standing up, they miss up in the zone, and those things get hit hard. So Landon Harmon right there. And again, big arm, obviously, big body, nice body, 6'5", 190. You're looking, 20, 30 pounds over the next 3, 4, 5 years, but he's a project. He's raw, he's a project, and I'm okay with that because Johnny Padres lesson again. Give me an arm, I'll make you a pitcher. I feel the same exact way. So this next kid, 6'3", 195, Angel Cervantes, high school arm, 17 years old, from Warren High School. Now, here's the thing. Watch the. So you're looking at watch the fastballs. Watch them all. Right, got left to right tail, upper 80s, and for what it's worth, that was me in high school. I threw 88. I didn't throw 95. So this is a guy if I'm an organization with a lot of depth in my coaching and a lot of hands-on coaching, and I know I've got this is a guy who has a lot of interest for me. Good body, big body, very, very raw. And here, well, I'm not even going to talk about this. But look at the fastballs. They're pretty consistent. They're going to stay in the same place. Low 90s. Again, he's 17 years old. That's fine with me, right? No finish, tall finish. Doesn't extend. A little arm, got good arm action, but again, mechanically, he's not going to be able to do the things you want to do with those mechanics with that finish. And guys are going to run on him. But again, he's 17. He's raw as hell. So that's okay. That was far harder than I threw it at 17. I can promise you that. But this guy's the kind of guy where this is the kind of guy like a team like the Dodgers or a good high school development program, an organization that trusts itself to develop pitching. This is the kind of guy you take late in the first round, early in the second or third, with pitching being what it is. I don't know what gets there, but he's a project. He's a 5-year kid, right? He's 17. You could have him big league ready at 22 with 500-600 minor league innings and all the coaching in the world under his belt. And then the last kid here, 6'6". This is a 6'6" lefty, Carmen Appenzeller, 18 years old, 6'6", 180, Glenwood High School. I want you to watch this. This is pretty fascinating to me. So he's warming up. This is at the one of the perfect game showcases. Same thing, upper 80s, good arm. Now, this is where you start to wonder. Look at when the back foot's down or when the front foot lands here, you want this arm to be kind of parallel to home plate. Behind and straight back. This is the old Strasburg reverse W kind of a thing. Made less physically traumatic because of the arm angle. He's down along, he's got a side slot. He's throwing from down here. So his break ball's naturally going to be around the zone with that arm slot. But But now watch when the hitter gets in the box. Up the effort, low 90s. Again, I'm okay with that. That's more than okay. Fastball down and in. Watch. Look at the finish. For a guy that's 6'6", the amount of velocity and command that he's giving up with this finish is choking elephant. But a project, as he should be, right? And that's what's going to happen when you're a side armor with that kind of a delivery and you don't have finish. You're going to have a lot of high breaking balls, a lot of breaking balls down on the other side of the plate. Yeah. Middle. And the thing that guys like this don't understand, he gets the swing and miss at 91 down the middle because of the other stuff, not because of the deceptive fastball. Because there isn't really any deception in a body that should have a lot of it. But it's going to be hard for him to command this side. Well, it's going to be hard for him to command out, but look at this finish, the straight up finish. So definitely a project, but when you're drafting high school kids, you expect that. What you have to have is a program. I'm confident that any of the 17 young men that we looked at, you could have in Cy Young contention before they get to the big leagues with the right coaching. Every one of those arms is draftable. Every one of those arms, some more than others. But I got to tell you, if I'm drafting and I'm comfortable taking a high school kid, I don't know the position players well, so I'm not going to comment on those. But Doyle probably will be the first guy off the board. And the more I watched him, the more I liked. I mean, there's some. I know it sounds old schooly, but there's some swagger and some showmanship that I think is kind of foolish. But I see that from a lot of guys in college and in big leagues nowadays. But Doyle goes off. My first Cruz Schoolcraft is my pick. If I'm drafting and if I'm looking, if my edict going into the draft in the top 15 picks of the draft is I want a pitcher who 5 years from now will be an opening day ace and be a stud and all the things go with that. I think Schoolcraft is the kid. And there's some other really good arms I like. I like Kate Anderson. I think Riley Quick is a fascinating case study. 6'6", 255. At Alabama, he's the Mike linebacker, I think, for the scout team. But I also love hearing his teammates talk about him. And he seems to be like he's got it all together. I think most kids that go to Alabama are that way. So there it is, G. Here's my wrap up.
Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Teammate? What are we going to do?
Got a little guess teammate for you.
We're going to go right into guess the teammate. All right. Let's do guess the teammate.
All right. 5 clues, starting with most vague, going to most obvious. Are you ready for your 10-point clue?
Ready. By the way, I've never gotten it on 1. I don't think I've gotten any on 2.
I think you've gotten counsel on 2.
Counsel on 2.
On 1 or 2, yeah. But that, yeah. We're about a 3 to 4 average. All right. So first clue. I played 18 years for 6 MLB franchises, though most people know me on the team that we played for together.
16?
6 MLB franchises.
18 years.
Long time.
This is a possible I could get it clue. 18 years.
Yeah.
6 teams. 18 years.
Though most people know me on the team we played for together.
Manny Ramirez.
Nope. Despite 5 trips to the postseason and a .284 postseason average, I never played in a World Series.
So it's got to be somebody that I played with.
It doesn't exactly eliminate anything, but it narrows some stuff down.
Yeah, well, it narrows years down. I was thinking, oh my God, it must be a Houston Astro, but it couldn't be a Philly that just didn't play in '93. Never played in the World Series. 18 years.
I have a feeling you'll get it on this next clue. Just because for me, this next clue is very seminal.
Don't have a guess.
No guess for this? All right. The 2-time All-Star, one of my career accolades is being the '05 Home Run Derby champion, where I set an at-the-time record with 41 home runs. See, that the fact that didn't come to you right away, like I was 10 years old when this happened. Right. I was all about, this is peak you're being a baseball fandom. And I loved this guy. I don't know if that helps at all.
2005.
2-time All-Star. One of my career accolades is being the '05 Home Run Derby champion, where I set an at-the-time record for home runs with 41. It's funny you don't remember it because you weren't at it.
No, I was not. No, I was hurt in '05.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So you don't remember this because you weren't at it. We were probably in Vermont or somewhere.
Never played in a World Series.
Taking a 3. Yeah, never played in a World Series. 5 postseason trips. .284 average in the postseason. 18 years, 6 MLB franchises. People know me mostly as a player on the team we played for together.
Oh, wow.
This one's gonna bug you, especially when I give you this next clip.
Gosh, dang it.
No guess. This is great podcasting right now.
No.
No guess?
No.
I was gonna say, all right. A 1-time Gold Glover. I am only one of 6 players to hit 250 home runs, have 2,000 hits, 1,000 runs, 1,000 RBIs, 1,000 walks, and 300 steals. Only one of 6 in MLB history to have those numbers.
Okay, now it's going to kill me because. Oh my God. Never played in the World Series.
Nope.
What am I missing, guys? I'm totally brain farting.
This one might hurt you the most.
Right.
Tony Womack was tough. This one's gonna be tough.
It's none of them. It's not a Philly. It's not an Oriole. It's not an Astro.
Why is it not a Philly?
The only person I can think of that I played in Philly with those kind of numbers career-wise, or even coming close, it's got to be somebody that I'm just totally brain farting on.
Which is so funny.
Because it's not a Scott Rowland.
Again, I personally, as a kid, loved this guy. So the fact that that's not helping you out is funny.
Not Scott Rowland. He didn't play for 16.
Nope.
He did play World Series too.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm gonna be so mad. I don't know.
The home run derby one. All right, last clue. When I finished the 2004 season for the Phillies, I hit 301, becoming the only player in MLB history to have 75 extra base hits, 100 RBIs, 125 walks, and 4 stolen bases.
I forgot it. I didn't realize Bobby did that in home run derby.
Yeah, 41. It was awesome. That was the year after we got to Boston, and the first time you weren't in the All-Star game in a couple of years, and I just remember being such a big Bobby Abreu fan. Such a sick swing. And yeah, that one of the more like interesting barroom debates.
If you guys want to do something off that Hall of Fame comment, Google Bobby Abreu and compare him to Tony Gwynn. And the similarities and the fact that Bobby's better in some categories will absolutely blow you away. But compare them. I'm not saying he's Tony Gwynn.
He was sick.
But he was a Hall of Fame.
He was awesome.
Hall of Fame talent.
And like I said, one of the better barroom debates for MLB discussions of all time. Because none of his numbers jump out as like, oh my God, first ballot.
Right.
But when you go and look at it from an MLB analytics standpoint, it's crazy.
The knock on him early on was effort level. I mean, remember, Kevin Stocker for Bobby Abreu. Right?
Did you hear the last stat I read about his 04 year?
Yeah, no, he
placed 23rd in MLB MVP voting that year.
Right.
The only player in MLB history to do that with 125 walks, 40 stolen bases, 75 plus extra base hits, and over 100 RBIs.
Right.
23rd.
But he was not.
He was always one of the more underrated guys of all time.
Very quiet.
Yeah.
But he got a little bit of a reputation early on of being a guy who might not show up some days.
In doing the research, I found out his nickname was Milk, La Leche. Did you ever hear that? I never heard that either. I was trying to figure out why that was. Google says it's because of his white teeth. Being in the locker room, I don't think you call somebody Milk because they're probably because he looked like a bag of milk and played like
he was talent for sure, a phenomenal player, very underrated, and a great team.
And we saw him in the last couple of years. He's still just as bubbly a guy, like very nice.
Still throw you out of home plate right now.
Yeah, he was solid too, just a solid man. Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Yep, thanks for listening. We'll be back on Thursday for episode 26. Draft's over. We'll figure something out to do that's fun. Take care, guys.